Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are back working on the Mark II 3.6 swap. Remember, this is gonna be a drag car, so we're doing things a bit out of the norm. We need port injection, so we need a port injection manifold. So in this episode, I'm gonna try to either start, finish, whatever, have the idea of building an intake off of this plenum. It's a complete one-piece billet piece that matches up really nice, and I got that from PMOTORSPORT. Now I'm using a Touareg 3.6 accessory drive bracket, so I have an alternator here. I just ordered another alternator. I'm going to put a 90 amp alternator in it because the physical body is actually smaller. This is a 120, so you can see it's pretty beefy because I have a drag race application. This front core support obviously looks like it's going to be in the way. So I had an idea where you need headlights for racing, at least one, and how these in like Mark IIIs are mounted. It's actually pretty easy and conducive to doing what I want to do. They have 4 mounting points, so there's 2 bolts right here, 2 bolts right here, and then that'll keep this headlight bucket completely fixed in place. So what I've done is I bolted them both in place. And then now you can see, like, here's the spot weld right to here. So I'm gonna cut on the outside of this spot weld on both sides to get rid of that center section. This is specifically just to keep the headlights in place. I will make a core support down the road for everything. Hood latch probably isn't gonna matter. If I have to put the stock hood latch back in, I will, but this is probably gonna be hood pinned. See, there's already spots right there that I can kind of put pins in. So that's gonna be the first thing I do today. I'm just gonna lop this off. When I was envisioning this build, we were thinking about keeping power steering, and that's why we went to this Touareg bracket instead of the 3.2 or 2.8. But now that I have it all in place, to have the alternator on there, you have to have a V6 Audi alternator pulley. You can see there it is. That would work. You can see it's just, the alternator is just way too far out. It's taking up all this real estate. We would also have to go to a tensioner that's on the head, and you can see it's right there, super tight. It's gonna make mounting or making a manifold just incredibly hard. So I went today and I got just a genuine true 3.6 bracket from the junkyard. You can see that it actually has the tensioner in a different location. We're gonna see if that'll work for us. If not, we still can use that. But the big thing with this is, look where the alternator will be. It's way in against the block compared to this one that's way out. So I'm just gonna get ready real quick and throw this stock 3.6 bracket on, and we'll see what kind of clearance we got. I also got a different alternator. So with the Touareg one, you should use the Touareg alternator that came with it. It's like 140 volts. It's big and it'll run anything you need it to run, and it also fits the best. If you're doing this swap, you're keeping the stock intake manifold, everything's gonna be stock, have power steering, use the Touareg bracket. In my case, everything's custom. I have to make a custom intake manifold. You can see the size comparison between the 120 amp and the 90 amp. This is substantially smaller. Just look at them from top down view. It's 90 amps the way to go. It'll run everything I need. It's just a drag car. This actually came off of a Mark IV New Beetle, which has power steering, has air conditioning, has all the stuff, electric windows. A 90 amp alternator is plenty. I see no reason of needing a 120, so we're just gonna go right to a 90 amp and have all the clearance we can get, because we need to make the manifold as big as we can get it. I'm gonna throw this bracket on and then show you guys how it looks afterwards. So here's the regular 3.6 bracket in place. You can see how it has this tensioner kind of hidden underneath. So we have a lot more clearance. We do lose some clearance right there, but I think it'll be perfectly fine. So this is definitely the better option if you're building an intake manifold. Now we can begin the intake. I bought some things for it. I bought a big donut, and they come in 2 pieces and they weld them together, or you can buy them separate. And what this does is it allows you to get an insanely tight bend out of 4-inch aluminum, and it's really good for building intake manifolds. You can kind of use that as the side of the plenum or whatever you got to do. I have this big aluminum tube that I bought years ago. I don't know if I'll use that. And I bought this real thick ram board so I can try to build the manifold out of that first. That way I don't waste anything. I have some aluminum here. I think I have some more back there. So hopefully I don't have to buy anything else, but if I do, oh well. I'm kind of second guessing it, but I have, no matter what, we're using a big gigantic throttle body. This one is an electronic one, and I've been rethinking it. Maybe I'll go to cable, but either way I can use this one for now and decide that later, because this is a LS 102 millimeters, so you can see your fist fits in there, so there should be plenty of air for the engine. But we can use this flange, and that'll bolt up to a drive-by-wire or drive-by-cable ones, whichever one we decide to use. So I'm gonna go through thinking about some stuff, and then I'll come back to you. I threw just stuff on loosely, the bumper and the grill, to kind of get an idea of the space. I'm trying to figure out where to put the big throttle body. Obviously I can't go right there because there wouldn't be much plenum volume. What I think I'm gonna do is take this and put it down about right there, like directly in the middle of all the runners, and have it on this like nice angle, so hopefully the air will kind of just, it'll come in like this. I'll have to drill a big hole in the bumper and have a velocity stack in the front, and then it'll just come in and it'll kind of 45 up and then 45 up again. That'll be the biggest plenum I'll be able to make, the most amount of volume and the most efficient flow. So now that I have that idea in place, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up stuff and seeing what I can get. I'm not really going to record much, guys, because it's a lot of back and forth work. But you can see I did take the big tube, cut it down the middle, flattened the edges on the belt sander, put nice edges on everything, that way you can weld to it. I think the beginning of the manifold will be 1/2 of this, and it'll kind of be like that. And we'll have to do another cut somewhere in this area and make the whole manifold down. But I think the best course of action, since everything's open right now, I'm probably just going to start immediately with building the lower plate down to the throttle body flange, because then I'll know all my clearances fit, and then I can just build around it, you know. For right now, I'm going to attempt to build this bottom plate out. What I do have to do is, you see this tensioner, it does have locks. We don't need that where we're going, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna take this over to the belt sander and lop those off so I have a little bit more clearance. Guys, I've gotten pretty far, but not really. This stuff takes a while. So in the beginning, we cut this in half, and you can see now I kind of beat one side of it straight. Unfortunately, I don't have a press brake, so I had to do it with a hammer, so it's a little ugly. The reason I have this flat part, we want to kind of we got to be real cautious of the bolts, because you got to be able to remove the fuel rail. Here's kind of how it's going to look with this side flat edge right here, kind of aiming straight down. One thing for you guys is, never use like a big cup TIG welding aluminum. This is a number 7. I wish I had a number 6, but I don't know what happened to it. Probably lost it in the move. I haven't welded aluminum in a while. And I'm going to use 40-43 and 3/32. So this is like relatively big stuff, because aluminum really takes metal. Like you'll go through these rods like it's nothing. If you use the smaller rods, you won't have enough. Like you'll be trying to fill it in, you'll basically be laying the wire in. So I found that 3/32 is pretty much the best. Over here I have home plate. So the idea behind this one is we have this little tiny kick out to have all the clearance back here for hoses and whatnot. It's gonna kick out a tiny bit, and then we'll weld that in place like that. Once this one's tacked in place and once the upper's tacked in place, as long as I like it, I'll probably fully weld it out on the inside on both of them. The inside is the portion where you need the most strength. So this will be welded on the inside and the outside, inside and the outside. But while we're here, we'd be able to weld it inside on both of these flanges. It'll be nice and structural. And then we don't have to worry about anything falling off as far as tacks and whatnot. And we'll also be able to make sure that this comes on and off, and then we'll take this off and we'll weld the top. That'll be pretty easy, but that'll be later. I got the whole rig out. Have a ground to the back of the cylinder head. First attempt didn't go well, you can see that there, but second attempt I got a nice tack on both sides. Now I can kind of adjust it if I need it. I've already pushed it down. So I'm trying to make a pretty big plenum. I can't go 90 down. It'd be nice if I had another bend, but you can see we're pretty tight. We're definitely tight to that tensioner up there, but we have the room. I might push this stuff a little bit more. We'll see, because I'm kind of thinking like, how big will that plenum actually be? So the thickness of it will probably be about, it's at 5 if you go all the way out, which again, I can cut this bumper if I have to, but I have to start welding this now, because that's the only way this is going to stay in place. Because a couple more touches, I'll probably crack a tack or something. So I'll probably just sit here, run some beads down. I'm just winging it basically, because there's no room. As you can see, space is tight. I think this will work because I have a bunch of the bumper I can cut out. Biggest thing is I want as smooth airflow going into the intake as I can get. So worst case, if I don't like it, I can cut it all apart. That would be it for the night, guys. All I got done, it was a lot of time and a lot of work. We got the lower plate completely welded on. We got the whole upper plate on, which maybe you guys can get a vision now. If I still have this plate, so we'll probably have another sort of matching one that kind of goes like that, and then it'll go down to our throttle body. So that's going to be the plan of it. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. This stuff just takes a lot of time. I still don't know what I'm doing with the ends. If I'm going to just put a plate on it. That's the most simplest idea. I bought that donut. I don't think that's the best idea. I think that's better for building a different type of intake manifold than I'm building right now. I don't think this is going to be one video because this is going to take me a while. So hopefully you guys are up for this. This is a huge step of progress. This is the biggest job of this entire build. Like, maybe you guys think that this stuff is way far away and paint and all this kind of stuff, but to me, all that's easy, all that's doable. It's just bolting things on, sanding it, making it look nice, painting it. even wiring it, I think that's going to be pretty damn easy. The hardest thing is getting the engine to perform how you want. So this is the biggest job. Once this is done, then we move on to the second biggest job, which is going to be porting the cylinder head and figuring out what to do about those injector plugs. There is a company that does do a heavy port job on this, but it costs about $3 grand, and you also have to ship it to Germany or somewhere over there. But yeah, that's probably the best option, but I'm not paying that much money. I will spend the time porting this out and welding this cylinder head. Hopefully everything works. So yeah, guys, give me a like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you guys are excited for this. I know I am. We're I'd like to say halfway done, but yeah, we might be 10% done. But see you guys in the next one.